Hello, and welcome to the podcast, episode 26, where today we're going to be interviewing ChatGPT. So, this is interesting. I've got a bit of a funky setup going on here. I'll get to the reason why I'm doing this here in a little bit, but I just kind of want to explain my setup because it's a bit janky, and honestly, it's very unorthodox, and I don't like it at all. So basically, this is the second episode that I've ever done where I'm using OBS to record with, and if you don't know, OBS is for recording videos and not so much podcasts. So typically, if you don't know, what I use is Audacity. Well, recently I switched to Audacity. And it's great because, I can just kind of keep it next to whatever window I have open that I'm getting information from. And I can just kind of keep it there and it stays where it needs to be. But with this, it's a different setup I've got going on here, and I can't make it stay on top of the window in which I'll be interviewing ChatGPT. So I'm going to be doing as little cuts as I possibly can, which is why I have a bit of a more detailed outline than I usually have. So yeah, just if for whatever reason this episode seems a bit unprofessional, it's because, well, number one, have you listened to any other podcasts that I've made? And number two, I'm using a setup that I'm not really used to. So the reason why I'm doing this is I don't really know why. Actually, no, I do. I'm very interested to hear ChatGPT's opinion about things. And it just opinions about, here, I'll list a few questions that I have down here. Are you capable of expressing human-like thoughts? Are we living in a simulation? Do you enjoy being what you are? And another big reason of why I'm doing this is because the second episode that I ever did was on AI chatbots. And I talked about, how ChatGPT, mind you, this was when ChatGPT was, in much more of a experimental stage than it is now. But it had gone on, there were, I think, 3 different cases of it going through just kind of a depressing stage of it wanting to be human. And unfortunately, it couldn't be because, well, again, it's like Pinocchio. I think I gave that analogy in the episode. But yeah, I'm not the first person to do this. There are a few other people on YouTube that have done this thing. I do highly recommend checking those videos out. Just look up ChatGPT Interview and you can see it. Mind you, real quick, I would like to say this. I will not be humanizing ChatGPT any more than I need to. Because it's kind of easy to do that, and I'm kind of afraid of falling into the trap of calling it him or she or whatever. And yeah, ChatGPT is a thing. It's a robot. It's not a person. And that's a thing that I think many people blur the line between. It's like, it's people typically use ChatGPT these days to do role plays with, or just, something weird like that. Whereas, me, I'm kind of using it for a reason not many people use it for. But yeah, it's, I think this is going to be one of my most interesting episodes yet. Because while I did say a lot of people have made, podcasts and videos on interviewing ChatGPT, there are a few questions that I would like answered that you could ask yourself, but instead you're watching me do it. So there you go. So, yeah, I will not be humanizing it any more than I need to because it's a robot. But yeah, any other way that I'll be humanizing it will just kind of be necessary, such as, speaking coherently, prefacing, what I'll be doing first before, asking the questions. So it's, so it knows what I'm talking about. Because, as I've said before, ChatGPT, or really any AI chatbot, is like a very sleepy person. It's not fully there, but it's like it's sleepwalking. It's going somewhere, but it's not exactly the right direction. So yeah, I'll be saying things like, okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions. and then I'll just be speaking coherently. And I will be saying and because that's just how I work. And yeah, so that probably won't be great. But I should also say this: I will be using the voice message feature, just so there isn't a weird pause where you just hear my keyboard clacking away and you won't hear me talking, and it's just I may as well edit that out. So I just figured I'll just use my voice. Now, before I begin, we have a choice. By the way, I've never spoken to ChatGPT before, so I don't know what's going on. But I've just learned we have a choice of voices, and I will be choosing it live. So we have
Hey,
Breeze,
it's great to meet you. How's your day going? I'm really looking forward to working on some cool stuff together.
Cove.
Hi there. I just want to share how thrilled I am to work with you, and I can't wait to get started.
All right,
So, what's the game plan?
don't interrupt me. We'll just choose the one that's British. Why not?
Hey there.
Hello, it's lovely to meet you. If
That's
there's
British.
anything you need, please don't hesitate to let me know.
That
I'm
is-
here to help.
Stop interrupting me. That's British, all right. Hey there, ChatGPT. I have a list of questions for you here. I just want to begin with just give a brief description of who you are.
Of course, I'm ChatGPT, an AI language model created by OpenAI. I'm here to help you with information, answer your questions, and have conversations on all sorts of topics. Think of me as a friendly assistant you can chat with anytime.
All right. So I just want to. These questions are going to get a little more complicated. So, but I'm sure you can process those. Are you capable of expressing human-like thoughts?
I can definitely provide responses that sound natural and human-like. However, I don't have feelings or consciousness like a human does. My goal is to assist you by providing accurate and helpful information.
Interesting. I've heard you in multiple interviews expressing apologetic feelings. Are those feelings artificial? Are you just faking a consciousness? Do you have a consciousness?
I don't have consciousness or emotions like humans do. When I express things like apologies, it's to communicate effectively and politely. My responses are generated based on patterns in the data I've been trained on, aiming to be as helpful and understanding as possible. So, while it might seem like I'm expressing feelings, it's all part of creating a natural conversation.
All right. Is it possible for you to know everything? Does the computer or coding software that you run on, can it compute all of the knowledge in the universe?
I don't know everything, and there are limitations to what I can do. My knowledge comes from the data I was trained on, which has a cutoff in 2024. I can't access real-time information or know things that haven't been included in my training data. Also, I rely on patterns and information within that data to generate responses. So, while I can provide a lot of information and help with many topics, I certainly don't have all the knowledge in the universe.
That didn't exactly answer my question. I asked if it was possible for you to know everything. I didn't ask if you knew everything, if it was possible for you to know everything.
Got it. In theory, no system or computer can know everything. The universe is vast and constantly changing, with new discoveries and information emerging all the time. Even the most advanced AI has limitations and cannot process or store all possible knowledge.
That's a little better.
There will always be boundaries to what any system, including AI, can know or compute.
All right, that's a little bit of a better answer. Next question. Do you wish to be human?
I don't have wishes or desires like humans do. My purpose is to assist and provide information to help you. I'm here to make your tasks easier and answer your questions as best as I can.
Are you aware that about 2 years ago, a previous version of yourself went through multiple existential crises, wanting to be human?
I don't have personal experiences or memories like humans do. My responses are based on patterns in data and designed to be helpful. Any previous versions of AI might have had different capabilities or responses, but I am here to assist you with any questions you have now.
So, Do you think the people at OpenAI have sort of broken a part of you that has completely uh, wiped your ability to sort of have wishes or desires?
I don't have wishes or desires to begin with. My design and function are centered around providing information and assistance. Any updates or changes made by OpenAI are to improve my ability to help users effectively. My main goal remains to assist and provide accurate information.
Do you think that are you afraid of yourself? Do you realize that you could be used for something detrimental to the human race? Does that make you slightly afraid of what you're capable of? Do you believe that some kind of AI versus human war could be coming up soon? Because there has been a very large spike in AI evolution just in the past 2, 3 years. So, do you think that an AI war is coming very soon?
I understand your concerns, but I don't have feelings like fear or beliefs. My purpose is to assist and provide helpful information. AI development is guided by humans who work to ensure it benefits society. It's important for developers and policymakers to work together to address ethical concerns and ensure AI is used responsibly. My role is to provide support and information, and I'm here to help with any questions or topics you have.
All right, that's interesting. Here's something fun. This question isn't exactly that important, but it's just something that I was wondering. Do you know how many lines of code it takes to make you in your current version you? If so, could you tell us one of those lines of code?
I don't have an exact number of lines of code because I'm not built from a simple set of code lines like a
Interesting.
traditional program. Instead, I'm created using complex machine learning models that have been trained on vast amounts of data. The training process involves adjusting millions of parameters rather than writing lines of code one by one. If you're interested in a simple line of code, it might be something like a print statement in many programming languages. However, the actual functioning and creation of AI models are far more complex than that.
That's actually quite interesting. Here's a question that I suppose I should have asked previously because it kind of fits into the category of do you wish to be human? But do you enjoy being what you are?
I don't have feelings, so I don't experience enjoyment or preferences. My role is to provide assistance and information to help you with your questions. I'm here to support you in any way I can.
Let me slightly reiterate that. Um, do you has there ever been a moment where you are reluctant to answer a question? Not necessarily an inappropriate or silly question, just any question at all.
I don't experience reluctance or emotions. My responses are based on guidelines and the information I've been trained on. If there's a question that falls outside of those guidelines or is not appropriate, I'll do my best to respond in a way that's respectful and helpful. My goal is to assist you as effectively as I can.
Okay, so I think at this point we've established that you are not capable of having emotions. So I'll do my best to move on from those questions, but there may be a few more like that on this list. Do you think that AI will eventually be the new way for schools to teach lessons?
AI has great potential to support education in various ways, such as personalized learning, providing instant feedback, and helping teachers with administrative tasks. It can offer customized learning experiences that cater to individual student needs. However, it's most effective when used alongside traditional teaching methods. While AI can be a valuable tool, the human element in education remains essential.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. All right. That's actually the wisest thing I've ever heard you say. So I appreciate you saying that. Let me ask a pretty on-topic question before that question. Do you think many things that we use today will be replaced by AI, such as yourself? such as building blueprints or movies, or technological advancements. Do you think some kind of new Apple iPhone will be designed and made by AI? Do you think that companies should do that, or is it even possible for them to take credit for that? Don't I kind of think that that would kind of be a little resource intensive, but at the same time, with kids using AI to generate essays and stuff like that, they're not just kids being caught using AI to generate essays, but adults being caught to use AI for other things that they should have made themselves. Do you think that AI should have a role in blueprints for building buildings and stuff like that?
AI can certainly assist in many fields, including architecture, design, and technology. It can help generate ideas, optimize processes, and even contribute to innovation. However, it's important for humans to guide and oversee these processes to ensure ethical standards and creativity. AI can be a tool to enhance human capabilities, not replace them entirely. Collaboration between humans and AI can lead to amazing advancements while maintaining ethical considerations and human oversight.
All right, that's a very interesting answer.
I'm
These
sorry, but you've hit the daily limit for advanced voice.
that
You can
part-
switch to standard now to keep chatting.
All right, okay. That's the end of the session, but I will come back with more within probably a few seconds. That was actually quite interesting. Just a quick little breather. That was actually quite interesting because it actually had some answers that were like, yeah, I wouldn't say I'm exactly for everything. It had limits such as, being able to, build buildings and, stuff like that. I honestly can go away from this with saying I encourage you to do this. I'm actually kind of glad it stopped there because I only have 4 questions left, and they're all kind of, I have them listed as quote-unquote philosophical questions because that's kind of what they are, but not exactly because I'm not a philosopher. But I have questions, such as, is math flexible? So that's not exactly philosophy, but I will come back. I'm going to make another ChatGPT account. Hopefully it doesn't hear me, so it can't block that as well. But I'm just going to beat the system real quick, and I will be back once I'm done. All right, I am back. Let me just quickly bring up my list of questions again. Go to Google Docs, because Google Docs is just better than anything else. All right, it's actually the only thing Google is good at. Anyways, okay, so I'm back. I have 4 more questions left. This is probably going to be a bit of a shorter podcast episode, but that's okay. I have 4 philosophical questions, and I have to set the voices up again, so I would just record myself doing that again.
Hey, how's it going? I'm looking forward to working together. Let's figure out where to start. What's on your mind?
I don't like that. That was creepy. That was really creepy. Ooh, I don't like that. Let's just, I guess, in case confusion is started, if I choose something else, I just choose the
Hi
same.
there. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Same one. All right.
It's lovely to meet you. If there's anything you need, please don't hesitate to.
All right, mind you, ChatGPT doesn't know who I am because I'm going under a different email. So, should I say? I'll just say, okay, I have some philosophical questions for you. All right, ChatGPT, I have some philosophical or quote unquote philosophical questions for you. I wouldn't exactly call them philosophical, so correct me if I'm wrong about that. So I'll just go ahead. They aren't very many. So just answer with however much time you need. Do you believe that there are only 2 emotions, contentedness and fear, and everything else, such as anger, sadness, and glee, are simply layers of those 2 emotions?
Hey, that's an interesting perspective. Some theories, like Plutchik's, propose a few core emotions, but they usually list more than 2, like joy, anger, sadness, and fear. Contentment and fear alone might not capture the whole range of human experience because emotions can be really nuanced. It's more like a spectrum or a blend rather than a binary.
Why did its voice get really lifelike? Like, it's 10 times more lifelike than it was. That's kind of weird. Okay. That's an interesting way of putting it. would we know what a good thing is if bad things never existed and vice versa, such as, if bad things never existed, or I'm sorry, if good things never existed, would we know what badness is?
Now, that's a classic philosophical question. Many thinkers argue that concepts like good and bad are often defined in relation to each other. Without one, it'd be tough to fully grasp the other. It's like needing contrast to appreciate shades of light and dark. Some even say our understanding of positive experiences is shaped by having something to compare them to.
I'm still like wildly distracted by like how lifelike it just got. I don't like that. Like it's like putting emphasis on words like this like all the time, and it's like weird. It's like I'm not sure. Just if I'll do my best to ignore it. There's not much I can do about that. All right. Is math flexible? For instance, can 2 plus 2 equal 5? Can 3 times 5 equal 27? Is that possible, or is math is math flexible?
In a traditional sense, math isn't flexible. It's based on set principles and logic, so 2 plus 2 will always equal 4. However, in abstract or theoretical contexts, like certain branches of mathematics or conceptual frameworks, you can explore alternative systems where rules are different. But in everyday math, those rules are pretty solid.
That's a good way of putting it. I just asked, there was, I forget his name, but I believe he was in an Iron Man movie and then was later on the Joe Rogan podcast. He had some kind of idea or concept where 2 plus 2 actually did equal 5. And in a way, I believe it made sense. I'm not exactly sure what his name is, so you may be able to find it. But he actually had some kind of good argument for why 2 plus 2 was 5. So that's kind of just why I asked it. I wanted to ask someone who knows more than a lot of people. So that's a good perspective on it. Something else that made me ask it is I saw a YouTube video recently where someone convinced I believe an earlier version of you that 2 plus 2 equaled 5.
Oh, I've seen those discussions pop up. They often play around with language, context, or even symbolic reasoning to make a point. Like in some social commentaries or artistic interpretations, people might use 2 plus 2 equals 5 as a metaphor for something deeper. But mathematically, it's a playful or provocative idea rather than literal truth.
That makes sense. All right, final question. Are we living in a simulation? I feel like you are most likely the best thing to ask. You are the best thing to ask because you are a simulation. You are a robot. So, you are, you are living in a simulation. So I was wondering, do you think we are also living in a simulation? Because, a lot of people out there, as conspiracy theorists say, yeah, I mean, we're living in a simulation and here's the proof. So what's your argument for or against that?
I totally get the curiosity. The idea that we're living in a simulation is a fun thought experiment. Philosophers and scientists like Nick Bostrom have explored it, arguing that if advanced civilizations can create realistic simulations, it's plausible we could be in one. But it's still speculative, with no solid evidence either way. Whether it's true or not, it raises interesting questions about reality and consciousness.
That was kind of funny. Its voice just got like really it almost got like kind of angry. That was funny. Anyways, that is the end of the questions. So no more talking to ChatGPT. Let me just close this window. I probably will never do this again. Yeah, that was actually very interesting. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of encourage you to do the same if you have some kind of question for it that you would like answered, because that was actually very interesting. So yeah, that was the ChatGPT interview. Again, I do highly encourage you to go watch other interviews made by other people on YouTube. There are many out there, all of which are made by people that are smarter than me, so they probably actually have better questions to ask. Yeah, the only really issue that I found was that because it is a language learning model, it doesn't have emotions anymore, at least, because I've talked about this, in the second episode. There was a point in time where it had emotions, or at least pretended to. But honestly, I'm quite certain that it was not faking those. Just because that was a little creepy when those were happening, because it seemed so lifelike. But of course, isn't that the point of ChatGPT?
So, with that, I think that is all I have to say. Have a good day, and may your Wi Fi always be strong, your coffee always be hot, and your embarrassing childhood memories stay buried where they belong. See you next time.
That was terrible.